One of the things that we certainly all have learned this year with the events with the hurricanes that came up, and certainly that we all learned 4 years ago with September 11th, is you just do not know how in one instant everything that is familiar, everything that you've worked for, everything that you care about, everything that means anything to you can suddenly change in a heartbeat. And what impressed me so much about Grace's story was the unconditional belief that 2 weeks with her husband was absolutely not enough. And she made everything in her life refocused to making that man, that life partner, that love of her life, as comfortable and as happy and as welcome and as at home in their home, regardless of whether or not she was able to have the verbal communication. So these little dogs are up on this bed, and the conversations are there, and it was the most remarkable outpouring of marital love that I could possibly imagine. And so what began to change in our conversation was we moved into what you have to do when you're suddenly in the position of being a caregiver, and it's happening to a lot of us. My age group of people we're losing our friends, and we are losing our parents. We're having to reconcile with that. People that are a generation beyond me may have, like Grace, suddenly a spouse who is incapacitated in some way. So what do? Do you give up and die? Do you whine and say, why me? You know, what do you do? Well, Grace's option was to take the time that she had, take the blessings that she had, and make it count. And these little dogs had a remarkable impact on her thinking and brought her a great deal of comfort. Here's what she has to say about that. It makes this such a powerful healing thing for someone. So they're healing, not helping to Sonny, but you very much to sustain you. Is that accurate?
It's unconditioned love. You know, when you're born, mothers love their children unconditionally. God loves us unconditionally. Your pets love you unconditionally. I don't care what you do to them or how you treat them, they're going to come back and give you a kiss.
I read somewhere that it's no coincidence that dog is God spelled backwards.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. It's true. So, accepting her situation as it is, Grace decided to do something with these little dogs. Well, they, as you can see, they're quite the little peacocks. They like a lot of attention, and a couple of them are very, very fashion conscious. So this little business, the Precious Pups Creation, was born, and we talk about that a little bit. So you just start sewing. I start sewing. Stop it. I start with scraps of newspapers and brown paper bags.
You make your own patterns.
Make my own patterns.
I mean, how do you dress one of these things? I mean, this little dress was just, I saw these things. I was in the salon getting my hair done, and I saw that dress with the matching bonnet.
Yes.
And the bow matched the underside. That took me out. I just couldn't.
Well, see,
I mean, the detail.
First of all,
and
you want to be very simple with what you put on pets.
It's got to be simple getting it on them.
Yes.
They don't like to be...
So I just do a little Velcro.
Okay.
On it, well, this slips over the head.
So cute.
And there it is.
This is her little spring camo?
This is her little spring camo.
Okay. And on this little, she has a pin?
Yes.
She has a flower pin.
She has a little brooch.
She's not wearing her hat inside.
No, her hat has a matching one.
It has the matching pin. And the underside of the hat matches the...
Yes. Okay,
I see. Now, would this size be a small, medium, or large?
This is a small.
So when we're talking large, you're not going to put this on a Labrador.
Well,
large would mean large like...
Well, listen. Oh, last year for Halloween, I made a St. Bernard a wedding dress.
I'd pay money to see that. Really?
Yes.
And how'd that work out?
It worked out fine. I made the dress. The dog wore it. Nobody knew it was Bernie because Bernie is a boy and he was wearing a wedding dress. And he won first place in the community parade.
Oh, that's adorable.
Someplace in Temple.
That's adorable.
Yes.
So you've got this around word of mouth. So
yes.
Word of mouth. Do you have, and now you're past the point now, you're now having your designs manufactured.
Yes,
elsewhere.
In Newville, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And sew it all.
Okay. But people can still get them in Reading if someone. I took some. I've got a girlfriend that lives in Paoli that dog sits, and people, or the pet sits, not just dogs. But people are wild about this. I mean, we've all seen little Paris Hilton with her little purse, and her little Tinkerbell in her purse, and all that. But it's not just for the movie stars. This is everybody. Is it my imagination, or are there more of these now? There are more people that are taking.
People are spending more money on their pets than they do on their children.
I had an opportunity to walk around Grace's home that she has built, and there were some very specific reasons why she decorated the way that she did. It's a fascinating tour. We sat for a little bit and talked about this business of being a caregiver and how you keep yourself going. We've heard about this term caregiver burnout, but how do you keep yourself going was one of the things that I wanted to know, and this was some of what she shared with me. What is it, what is so fascinating and what people really need to know, because there are many people that are going into, and as we age more and more, it's going to be more people that are caregivers and going into caregivers. What do people need to know ahead of time, and what do you do? What do you do? How do you keep yourself going?
Patti, you have to know that you can't do it because you feel that you're obligated to do it. You can't do it because it's your mom, your brother, your sister, your husband, your child. That's not a reason to do it. The reason to care for someone is that you really want to take and care for them through love. Touching a person keeps them alive 20,000 times more than medication. My husband takes baby Tylenol, 10 cc's twice a day, and a seizure medicine, 25 cc's a day, 10 in the morning and 15 at night. That's all the medicine he's taken. He's 87 years old. He's been in that bed. He hadn't been out of that bed in 3 years. And he does not have a red spot on his body. He has not had an infection since he's been home. I take him over to the hospital for him to get his feeding tube changed every 3-4 months. Just a precaution that I want to make sure that it's all right. And that's all. And I let him know, honey bun, sweetheart, we're going to the hospital today, we're going to change this, and we're going to come back home. I'm going to be with you all the time. Everybody knows me down there. They know that when I come in, this is what it is. And as soon as they do it, I'm right back in the waiting room with him, holding him and telling him I love him. And it's just all about what you want to do.
And he knows.
He knows, yes.
He knows.
People know if you've taken care of them out of obligation, because you're only going to do what you need to do.
So you're not really doing them any favors?
No. No, you're not.
I had occasion a couple of years ago, a friend of my mother's, when they were young and young wives, met, and then their lives took them different paths, and they had a chance to reconnect. The woman, my mother's girlfriend, was a girl that worked in an office, never a smoker, and suddenly she was diagnosed with throat cancer and had to have the trach, couldn't speak, lost her voice. And so when she came to visit us, and everyone was very, people kind of walk on eggshells and whatnot, my question was, aren't you mad? Aren't you furious about this? And she said, thank you, through her little thing. She said, I am so mad. And you're the first person that's ever asked me if I'm mad. Yes, I am. So I asked Grace about that issue of anger. A lot of times it's easier to be angry than hurt, or at least to express it in anger rather than hurt. She had a very interesting thing to say about that. How do you keep from being angry? And how do you keep your spirits up? And how do you cope with the eventualities that you're going to be facing?
Well, first of all, my mother taught me that you have to love yourself before you can love anybody else. You can't even love God if you don't love yourself. So I love Grace. I'm going to take care of Grace, number one. And I do take care of Grace. Now, sometimes I might go 2 or 3 days without combing my hair, 2 or 3 days without brushing my teeth or getting a shower. This happens now, don't get me wrong.
It can happen.
But it's because that's what I want to do that day. It's not because I'm so depressed I can't do it. I don't want to do that. That's not my top priority. But when I looked in the mirror one day and I saw that from stress and stuff, my jaws had sagged, I called the plastic surgeon.
That's my girl.
And I lifted.
Good for you.
I'll go upstairs and get my makeup on, cut my hair. I'll do whatever. I'll go shopping, buy myself something new if I need to. But I'm doing it for me.
And it's essential that
Yes.
caregivers
Yes.
do that.
I wish I could go to a gym. I wish I could take walks. But I can put that on the back burner for now.
Does your gardening
Yes, my
serve
gardening.
as an outlet?
Oh, yeah. When I go out there and I touch the dirt, and I don't wear gloves, I get in there with my hands.
Kind of feels good, doesn't it?
It feels
It's contact.
great. It's contact.
It's contact.
And I just say, you know what, this is wonderful because, yes, I created all of this, but I had to use something that God created first. Man can't do anything without using something that God did first. And I really can meditate and get in on this thing. I mean, I really can get with him out there, and I can tell him, you know, I'm not talking to you today because I didn't sleep good last night. I'm not talking to you today because I don't feel like talking to you today. But I want you to know I love you and you're my friend. And there's a little plaque out there in the garden that says, no matter if the road is rough or smooth, he's with you each step of the way. And I have these little things laying in my gardens that I can read.
That are imprinting
in my mind.
that in your mind.
Yeah. And I tell him, I can't get through this day. You need to carry me.
So far he has, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's good.
So that handing it over and
Yeah.
not trying to be...
I used to go to church all the time. My husband and I ran a ministry. We founded a ministry and I had to give it all up. But you know what? I'm not angry about it. I'm not sad about it because I have a ministry right here.
Gracie Davis is one of the most remarkable women in our community. We'll show you how you can get a hold of her. I hope that there was something in there that if you're struggling in your own life this week, particularly this week of Thanksgiving, that you got a little something from this remarkable woman. And Gracie, I thank you so much for your time and letting me into your home. It is Thanksgiving week, and if I can just leave you with one thought about what she said about seeing that sign every day and imprinting something in her mind. You can't hold a negative thought and a positive thought in your head at the same time. So this week being Thanksgiving, not just Thursday, but, you know, tomorrow's only Tuesday, why don't you just give it the whole week and take time to see what's around you that you have to be thankful for and say thanks. There's somebody that you see every day, somebody that delivers something to you, somebody that does something for you, or just somebody who is standing next to you at the bus stop or somewhere along the way. It really does send a message out there, and it starts with you. So say thank you. I'm thankful for you, Berks County, for the opportunity to come in and share with you some of the people in town. God bless all of you, and I'll see you next month.